during the summer of 1850, a Scottish Presbyterian immigrant by the name of John Smith took ownership of land just north of a freshwater creek known at the time as Grant Creek, which intersected Main North Road, which was the main thoroughfare highway up into the mid-north and the copper mining region of South Australia. John Smith was a smart businessman and set up a homestead on Main North Road during the summer of 1850 to take advantage of passing traffic and bullock trains. Soon after, a town was planned and building started commencing for a regional centre that would come to be known as Smithfield. Before John Smith's settlement, the entire area between Gawler and Salisbury was simply referred to as Gawler Plains. The town of Smithfield was based on Adelaide City and used a gridiron street plan. John Smith donated the land in the centre square, known as Augusta Square at the time, to the Presbyterian Church, who set up a Scottish church in the centre of town. There is very little on record about this small church, but we know that it was knocked down sometime during the 1960s. In May of 1877, John Smith commissioned the building of a primary school, which was to be built by a funeral directors by the name of Taylor and Forgie. It was traditional at the time that funeral directors would also provide carpentry and building services, and Taylor and Forgie was awarded the grant to build many of the buildings in Gawler and Smithfield, some of which are still standing to this day. Payment for the building of the site was subsidised by the state government at the time. By the time of the 1880s, Smithfield was a fully fledged regional hub, including many services such as a blacksmith, a butcher, and a postal service which was operating under the name of Gawler Plains General Post Office. In 1855, a rail line was constructed from central Adelaide to Gawler. Initially, Smithfield was the terminus of the railway line until the line was extended in 1865 to extend all the way out into the mid-north. Smithfield Station was not yet referred to as Smithfield Station and still retained the name of Gawler Plains Railway Station at the time. A station building was built to the same floor plan as North Adelaide Railway Station, and a chaff mill was constructed further down the street on Anderson Walk at the same time that the station was built. The chaff mill is still standing today and is currently being used as a law firm's regional office. It is worth highlighting that Smith's Creek, or Grant Creek, which was supposed to serve as the town's main freshwater source, is not actually known to have had fresh water flowing through it. During the time that John Smith was using the Gawler Plains area for agriculture, he purchased an elephant from an elephant traders in India. He named the elephant Tommy, and he was used to plough fields. John Smith's barn and Tommy's stables are still standing today. The site is still standing today, and it is registered by the Australian government as a historical place. Unfortunately, most of the original buildings that were once utilised in Smithfield for commercial and residential reasons have now been long since demolished, and new buildings have been built in their place. Some buildings still exist and are still used by the community today, but some of them are left abandoned and in derelict condition. During the English and European migrant boom of the 1950s and 60s, Smithfield was increasingly surrounded by new housing developments. The areas of Smithfield Plains and Elizabeth slowly started to encroach upon Smithfield, and the once regional centre was swallowed up by suburbia. By the time of the 1990s, Smithfield had more or less been swallowed up by suburbia, and the once rural town had now become a suburb of the City of Adelaide. Advancements in motorcar travel had now made Smithfield's roadhouses and hotel motels more or less redundant as travel layovers. The simple way to explain the current situation is that as soon as the cars start to get faster, the longer you can travel and the further out you can go. So small towns surrounding the City of Adelaide that slowly become suburbs will now not be required for anything other than just residential purposes. As of 2017, Smithfield has a population of 1,750, which is nearly triple of what it had 50 years ago. Unfortunately, this same story is all too common amongst once regional towns that surrounded the Adelaide Plains region.